Did soccer pave the way for South Africa's freedom? Dive into the controversial tale of how a ball brought together a divided nation. Join us as we explore the hidden truths behind the soccer fence and its role in dismantling apartheid, one goal at a time. Soccer Fence, a story of friendship, hope, and apartheid in South Africa. By Phil Buhner. Illustrated by Jesse Joshua Watson. As a boy, Hector loved playing soccer in his small Johannesburg township. He dreamed of playing on a real pitch with the boys from another part of the city. But apartheid made that impossible. Then, in 1990, Nelson Mandela was released from prison and apartheid began to crumble. The march toward freedom in South Africa was a slow one, but when the beloved Bafana Bafana national soccer team won the African Cup of Nations, Hector realized that dreams once impossible could now come true. This poignant story of friendship artfully depicts a brief but critical moment in South Africa's history and the unique role that sports can play in bringing people together. The soccer fence. I kicked the egg-shaped ball towards the goal. "He shoots!" I shouted. The ball soared past my sister's fingertips, just inside the leaning stack of empty cartons. "Goal!" With my fist in the air, I sprinted up the field along the wire fence, the out-of-bounds that separated our Johannesburg township from the rest of the world. Twice a month, my sister and I rode the Putco bus with Mama. She took us to a different part of Johannesburg where she worked. "Stay out of trouble," Mama always warned as she led us to the yard. My sister usually spent all day in the garden, trimming, raking, planting, and smiling. I spent all day with my face pressed to the fence, my eyes glued to the boys chasing after the black and white leather ball. "Hey," I called. "Hey!" But not a single boy ever looked my way as they raced up and back along the green carpet. One day I whispered, "I'm going to play on a field just like that. One day, real soon." Today, we celebrate liberty. Papa raised his hands to the heavens. Nelson Mandela had been freed from prison. Apartheid had finally crumbled. We paraded to FNB Stadium with the other families from our township. High in the packed upper deck, we waved flags, danced in the aisles, and listened to our hero. "We are going forward," Nelson Mandela declared. "The march towards freedom and justice is irreversible." But the march was slow. The next time I went to work with Mama, I peered over the fence. "Can I play?" I called. Not a single boy looked my way. Then, one time, a couple of years later, while I was helping my sister in the garden, their ball sailed over the fence. "I'll get it!" I shouted. I chased it down and bicycle kicked it high into the air and back over the fence, right to the blonde boy standing by midfield. He trapped my pass with his foot and booted the ball onto the field. Then he turned away and rejoined his game. "Today we celebrate liberty!" Papa raised his hands to the heavens. For the first time ever, people of all races could vote in South Africa. We stood for hours and hours in the snaking line at the polling station. When Papa finally cast his ballot, he hugged me tighter than he ever had. A few days later, the news reached our township. Nelson Mandela was now president. Mandela, president of all South Africa, our president. Mandela loved sports, and when South Africa was chosen to host the 1996 African Cup of Nations, he helped rally the whole country around our team, Bafana Bafana, the boys, the boys. I pretended to be John Shoes Mashu, the black midfielder. Shoes! I cheered when I booted the ball into the goal. On his field, the blonde boy pretended to be Mark Fish, the white defender. Fish! He cheered when he bicycle kicked the ball between the posts. In the opening match of the Cup of Nations, we watched Bafana Bafana thump Cameroon 3-0. Then, in the next round, we faced Algeria. Neither team could find the net in the driving rain, but midway through the second half, Mark Fish stormed past a defender and blasted a strike. Fish! We danced around the tiny television in town. Nigeria fought back and tied the match. But with just 5 minutes remaining, Shoes rocketed a shot. Shoes! We poured into the street. Shoes! Bafana Bafana won again. In the semi-finals, neither Papa nor Mama believed Bafana Bafana had much of a shot against Ghana, the only undefeated team left in the tournament. You can't say we don't have a chance, my sister said. Things are different now. It's a new day in South Africa. I agree, I said, repeating the words I'd heard at school, in church, on the bus, and everywhere since the end of apartheid. We can dream now. If Bafana Bafana wins, we must go to the finals. If Bafana Bafana finds a way to the finals, Papa said, we'll find a way to the finals. Bafana Bafana found a way. Papa scraped together enough money for tickets, emptying change from the jars tucked behind the cupboard. When Papa finally purchased our tickets at the newsstand, I hugged him tighter than I ever had. Yay, Bafana Bafana, we cheered. High in the packed upper deck of FNB Stadium, we chanted, cheered and sang as Bafana Bafana took the pitch for the final showdown against Tunisia. Standing on my seat, I spotted the blonde boy standing on his seat in the next section. He saw me and raised his fist. I raised my fist back. The match remained scoreless well into the second half. 50 minutes, 60 minutes, 70 minutes. Suddenly, Mark Williams slipped past 2 defenders and booted the ball towards Tunisia's net. Goal! Then before we could sit back down, Bafana Bafana's amazing attacker broke free again and rocketed another ball towards Tunisia's side of the field. Goal! The final whistle blew. Bafana Bafana had won the African Cup of Nations. Down on the pitch, the Bafana Bafana players paraded around, waving flags and blowing kisses. The blonde boy and I led the snaking line of frenzied fans in and out of the aisles and up and down the steps as we celebrated the first championship soccer trophy we'd ever won. The next time I left the township, I saw the boy playing on the field. My name is Chris, the blonde boy said, trotting to the fence when he saw me. Do you want to play? Oh yes, I replied. I'm Hector. He lifted the latch on the gate. When we play, he said, I like to be Mark Fish. I like to be Shoes Mosheau, I said. That means we're teammates. He opened the gate. I stepped through the soccer fence.